I was staring at my wife's phone, watching a video I was never supposed to see, when I realized that the man kissing her neck wasn't wearing a wedding ring. I was. The timestamp showed it was recorded 3 days ago, Tuesday afternoon, when Jessica told me she had a dentist appointment. The location tag read, Riverside Inn, room 237. I knew that place. It was 40 minutes from our house, tucked away off Highway 9, the kind of motel that charged by the hour but kept the parking lot hidden from the road. My hands weren't shaking. That's what surprised me most. I'd imagined this moment before, the way every married person does in their darkest 3 a.m. thoughts. But I'd always pictured myself as the emotional wreck, the guy who throws things and screams. Instead, I felt cold. Clinical. Like I was watching someone else's life fall apart through bulletproof glass. The video was only 15 seconds long. Jessica, my wife of 11 years, giggling as some guy with perfectly styled hair and an expensive watch pulled her onto a hotel bed. Her red dress, the one I'd complimented that morning, riding up her thighs. The video cut off before anything explicit happened, but the intent was crystal clear. What made my stomach turn wasn't the intimacy. It was her laugh. That genuine, unguarded sound I hadn't heard directed at me in months. I should explain how I got here. Sitting in my car outside my own house at 2:47 p.m. on a Friday, scrolling through my wife's cloud storage like a detective in a bad movie. It started with pizza. Jessica had been ordering from Tony's Pizzeria every Thursday for the past 2 months. Always the same order: large pepperoni, extra cheese, garlic knots. The thing is, Jessica's been lactose intolerant since college. Violently so. I'd seen her turn green from a single slice of regular pizza. Yet every Thursday, the bank statement showed a $30 charge from Tony's, and every Thursday, there were no leftovers in the fridge, no greasy boxes in the trash, nothing. When I asked her about it last week, she'd looked me dead in the eye and said, "What are you talking about? I haven't ordered pizza in months." That's when I knew. Not about the affair, not yet, but that something was fundamentally wrong. Jessica was a terrible liar. Always had been. During our first year of marriage, she'd tried to throw me a surprise birthday party, and I'd figured it out within 24 hours because she kept making weird excuses about why I couldn't come home early. This lie, though? It was smooth, practiced, the kind of lie you get good at through repetition. So I did what any self-respecting husband in 2024 would do. I checked our phone records online. We'd been on the same family plan since we got married, and I'd never looked at the detailed logs before. Why would I? But there they were, hundreds of texts to a number I didn't recognize. The calls started around 3 months ago, brief at first, then longer. Some lasting over an hour, always during my work hours. I ran the number through a reverse lookup service. Brandon Whitfield, 34, sales director at Prestige Auto Group. His LinkedIn showed him standing next to a BMW, arms crossed, that insufferable smirk that guys who peak in their 30s always wear. He was handsome in that generic way. Strong jaw, gym membership, the kind of guy who definitely used the word bro, unironically. The cloud storage was the final piece. Jessica had set up automatic photo backup years ago and forgotten about it. We shared an account for family photos, but she'd created a separate folder labeled Work Stuff 2024. I'd never had a reason to look before. There were 47 photos and 6 videos. I didn't look at all of them. Couldn't. The first few were enough. Restaurant dinners I was never invited to. Selfies in his car, one photo of them at the beach, her head on his shoulder, both of them looking at the camera with the kind of casual intimacy that takes time to build. That one was dated 8 weeks ago, right around our anniversary, which she'd said we should skip this year because money was tight. The video I'd watched was the most recent. There were others, older, that I couldn't bring myself to open. The thumbnails were enough. I sat in my car, my phone screen dimming from inactivity, and tried to remember the exact moment my marriage died. Was it last year when she started working late? Was it 6 months ago when she suddenly wanted to rediscover herself and join that gym? Or was it earlier, years ago, in some tiny moment I'd missed because I was too busy being comfortable? We have 2 kids. Emma's 9, Tyler's 6. They were at school right now, blissfully unaware that their world was about to implode. Emma had inherited Jessica's smile and my stubborn streak. Tyler was all energy and chaos, the kind of kid who couldn't sit still for 5 minutes but could tell you every fact about dinosaurs he'd ever learned. The house in front of me, a 3-bedroom colonial we'd bought when Emma was born, suddenly looked different, like a museum of a life I used to have. The basketball hoop I'd installed last summer. The garden Jessica had planted and then abandoned after 2 weeks. The mailbox Tyler had backed into with his bike, leaving a dent I'd never fixed. My phone buzzed. A text from Jessica. Picking up the kids at 3:30. Can you grab milk on the way home? Love you. Love you. 2 words that used to mean everything, now just autopilot. The casual sign-off of a woman who was living a double life so comfortably she could text her husband and her lover in the same afternoon without breaking a sweat. I looked at the clock. 2:51 p.m. I had time before she got home with the kids. Time to make copies of everything. Time to think. I forwarded the photos to my personal email. Then I deleted the forwarded messages from her sent folder. Then I cleared her trash. Then I logged out and cleared my browser history. The clock in my car read 2:53 p.m. I had 37 minutes before Jessica picked up the kids from school. 37 minutes before she came home with Emma's chatter about whatever happened at recess and Tyler's inevitable request for a snack, both of them oblivious to the fact that their father was sitting in the driveway cataloging evidence of their mother's affair like some kind of suburban private investigator. I should have felt something. Rage, maybe. The kind of white-hot anger that makes men do stupid things. Confront the other guy in a parking lot, throw her clothes on the lawn, smash dishes against walls. But I just felt cold. Methodical. I opened a new browser tab and searched for divorce attorneys in the area. The first 3 websites looked like they'd been designed in 2003. The 4th had a chat widget that immediately popped up asking if I needed help. I closed it. The 5th was clean, professional, with a photo of a woman in her 40s named Rebecca Lawson. Her bio said she specialized in high-conflict divorce and complex asset division. I didn't think we had complex assets. A house with 12 years left on the mortgage. 2 cars, one of them 7 years old. College funds we'd been contributing to since the kids were born. A joint savings account that had exactly $14,287 in it as of this morning. But then I thought about the VPN. We'd set it up 6 months ago after Jessica read some article about data privacy and identity theft. She'd been weirdly insistent about it. Said we needed to protect ourselves, protect the kids, protect our information. I'd agreed because it seemed reasonable. We both worked from home sometimes. Why not add an extra layer of security? The service was called SecureLink. $29 a month for up to 5 devices on a family plan. I'd set it up on both our phones, both our laptops, and the desktop in the office. I was the account administrator because I'd been the one to actually configure everything while Jessica hovered over my shoulder, asking if it was done yet. I pulled up the SecureLink dashboard on my phone and logged in. The interface was simple. 5 devices listed. iPhone, mine. iPhone, Jessica. MacBook, mine. MacBook, Jessica. Desktop, home. Each one showed its last connection, time, and data usage. My devices were normal, a few megabytes here and there, checking email, browsing news sites, the occasional video stream. Jessica's phone showed 847 megabytes in the last week alone. Her laptop was worse, 2.3 gigabytes. I clicked on her phone's activity log. SecureLink didn't show me exactly what sites she visited. That would have defeated the whole privacy point. But it did show me server locations, where her encrypted traffic was being routed. Most of it was normal, local servers for banking, shopping, social media. But there were dozens of connections to a server cluster in Virginia. The timestamps were always late at night, after 10 p.m., sometimes as late as 2 a.m. I clicked on one of the Virginia connections. It showed a duration of 3 hours and 42 minutes. Data transferred 156 megabytes. That wasn't browsing. That was sustained communication. Video chat, maybe. Or a messaging platform with media sharing. I checked another night, 2 hours, 18 minutes. Then another, 4 hours, 7 minutes. Research nights, she'd called them. She'd started doing them about 4 months ago, said she was taking an online course about digital marketing to maybe pick up some freelance work. She'd set up in the office with the door closed, told me not to bother her because she needed to focus. I'd believed her. Why wouldn't I? She'd shown me the course website once, some professional development thing with modules and certificates. I'd been proud of her for taking initiative, but now I was looking at server logs that told a different story. I clicked on her laptop activity. Same pattern, but more frequent. Almost every night for the past 3 months. Always the same Virginia server cluster. Always late at night. Always hours of sustained connection. I opened a new tab and searched for the server IP address. It took me to a company called CipherChat. Military-grade encrypted communication for privacy-conscious users. The kind of service that advertised itself as untraceable, unbreakable, completely anonymous. The kind of service you used when you didn't want anyone to know what you were saying, or who you were saying it to. My phone buzzed. Another text from Jessica. Picking up milk on the way home. Need anything else? I stared at it. She was asking about groceries while her laptop was probably still logged into whatever encrypted chat room she'd been using to talk to Brandon Whitfield until 3 in the morning. I didn't respond. Instead, I went back to the SecureLink dashboard and clicked on the account settings. There was an option to generate detailed activity reports. I selected the last 6 months and requested a full export. The system said it would take a few minutes to compile. While I waited, I checked the desktop computer's logs. Barely used. A few connections here and there, mostly me checking email when my laptop was charging upstairs. The report finished generating. I downloaded it to my phone, a 47-page PDF with every connection, every server, every timestamp, every byte of data transferred across our family VPN for the last 6 months. It was 3:04 p.m. I forwarded the report to my personal email. Then I opened my laptop, still sitting on the passenger seat where I'd left it, and logged into the SecureLink admin panel from there. The panel had more options than the mobile app. I could see active sessions, revoke device access, change passwords, even set up alerts for suspicious activity. I clicked on Jessica's laptop. It showed as currently connected. Active session, 47 minutes. Server location, Virginia. Data transferred, 23 megabytes and counting. She was online right now. I checked the time. 3:06 p.m. She was supposed to be getting milk before picking up the kids. School let out at 3:30, and the grocery store was 10 minutes from the school, which meant she had to leave in the next few minutes. But she was still connected to CipherChat. I clicked on Session Details. It gave me more information, not the content, but the metadata. Connection type, persistent WebSocket, encryption protocol, AES 256, traffic pattern, bidirectional messaging with intermittent media transfer. She was talking to someone, sending messages, maybe photos. Right now, while texting me about milk, I moved my cursor over the Terminate Session button. One click and I could boot her offline, force her VPN to disconnect. She'd probably just reconnect, but it would interrupt whatever conversation she was having. I didn't click it. Instead, I went to the admin settings and changed the account configuration. Secure Link had a feature for parents who wanted to monitor their kids' online activity. It would automatically log all connection attempts and generate real-time reports of suspicious behavior. I enabled it for Jessica's devices only. Then I set up an automated print job. Every time her laptop or phone connected to the Virginia server cluster, the system would generate a connection report and send it to our home printer. The HP LaserJet in the office, the one that sat 3 feet from the desktop computer. The one that sat 3 feet from where Jessica had her research nights. I saved the settings. The system confirmed, monitoring enabled. Reports will be generated for flagged activity. It was 3:11 p.m. I closed my laptop and sat back in my car. The house looked the same as it had an hour ago. Same white siding, same black shutters, same dented mailbox that I kept meaning to replace, but everything was different now. My phone buzzed again. Jessica. Leaving store now, home in 20. I looked at the Secure Link app. Her laptop was still connected to the Virginia server. Still active, still transferring data. Which meant she wasn't at the store. She was somewhere else, laptop open, talking to him. And in 20 minutes she'd come home, walk through that door with Emma and Tyler, put the milk in the refrigerator, and ask me how my day was. The printer was going to jam. I knew it would. The thing was 6 years old and temperamental. Feed it more than 10 pages at once and it would seize up, flash an error code, refuse to work until you opened it up and cleared the paper manually. And when it did, she'd have to see what it was printing. I started my car and backed out of the driveway. I didn't know where I was going, just away. Somewhere I could think. Somewhere I could decide what came next. The printer started jamming at 11:47 p.m. I was still awake, sitting in a Hampton Inn 17 miles away, watching the real-time logs on my laptop. Jessica had connected to the Virginia server at 11:32, right on schedule. The automated script I'd written triggered immediately, sending the connection report to our home printer. All those routing details, server addresses, timestamps, the Cypher chat room ID that matched Brandon's profile exactly. I'd cross-referenced it 3 times. The printer log showed it had started processing the document, then stopped. Paper jam on page 2 of 8. I imagined her in the office, probably wearing those reading glasses she only used at night, laptop open to whatever encrypted conversation she was having with him. The printer would have made its usual grinding noise. Maybe she'd ignored it at first. The thing was always acting up. But it would keep trying to print. Keep grinding. Keep making noise until someone dealt with it. My phone buzzed. Jessica. Printer's broken again. Did you try to print something before bed? I stared at the message. She thought I was home, asleep in our bed. I'd told her I had an early site visit tomorrow, that I'd probably be asleep when she finished her coursework. No, probably just acting up. I'll look at it tomorrow. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. It's making a weird noise, like it's trying to print something but can't. Just turn it off. We'll deal with it in the morning. The dots stopped. On my laptop, her VPN session was still active. I pulled up the printer's web interface. Yeah, I'd set that up 2 years ago when we first got the thing. The jam was in the rear tray, paper stuck halfway through. The document was still in the queue, trying to process. I could fix it remotely. Clear the jam, restart the print job. Let all 8 pages spill out onto the floor of our home office while she sat there. Or I could wait. My finger hovered over the keyboard. This wasn't the plan. The plan was to gather evidence, talk to a lawyer, build an airtight case before she knew anything was wrong. The printer thing was supposed to be insurance, a way to catch her in real time if I needed it, not... Her VPN session disconnected. 11:54 p.m. 30 seconds later, my phone rang. Jessica. Voice call. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Hey. I kept my voice sleepy, rough. The printer's really jammed. She sounded distracted. I tried to open it, but I can't see what's stuck. Can you come look? I'm half asleep. Can it wait until morning? It's making this clicking sound, over and over. It's going to wake the kids. I closed my eyes, counted to 5. Did you try turning it off? Yes. It turns back on by itself and starts clicking again. That wasn't possible. Unless I checked the printer settings. Right. I'd enabled auto restart for failed print jobs, in case she tried to shut it down. Unplug it, I said. Silence. Then, why would it turn itself back on? I don't know. Maybe the power button's stuck. Just unplug it from the wall. I heard movement through the phone. Footsteps, then a small grunt of effort. Okay, it's off. A pause. There's paper stuck in it. I can see the edge. Leave it. I'll fix it tomorrow. I can probably just... A rustling sound. It's really wedged in there. If I can just... Jessica. Sharper than I meant to. Leave it. Come to bed. Another pause. Longer this time. You're not in bed, she said quietly. My heart stopped. What? I can hear traffic in the background. Where are you? I looked at the hotel window. I'd left it cracked open. The highway was visible from here, a steady stream of headlights even at midnight. I couldn't sleep, I said. Went for a drive. At midnight. Yeah. Why? Because I spent the evening watching our entire marriage dissolve into server logs and encrypted chat rooms. Because I've been sitting here for 6 hours trying to decide if I should let you find out this way or do it myself. Because I'm a coward who set a trap and now I'm too scared to spring it. Just needed to clear my head, I said. Work stuff. The silence stretched between us like a wire pulled taut. The paper in the printer, she said finally. It has text on it. I can see part of a word. Looks like connection or something. My laptop screen showed the document queue. Connection report. Secure link VPN. User, J. Allen. Destination, Cipher Chat Server, Virginia. Session, duration, 4 hours, 23 minutes. Bandwidth, 847 MB. Probably something from work, I said. I'll look at it when I get back. When will that be? I don't know. Hour or two, maybe. It's almost midnight. I know what time it is. Another pause. When she spoke again, her voice had changed. Careful. Measured. Is everything okay? No. Nothing is okay. Nothing has been okay for months, and I was too stupid or too trusting or too busy to notice. But you knew. You knew exactly what you were doing every time you told me about your research nights, every time you texted me about milk and dinner and parent-teacher conferences while you were planning your next trip to room 237. Everything's fine, I said. Go to bed. I'll be home soon. Okay. She didn't sound convinced. Drive safe. Yeah. She hung up first. I sat there staring at my phone, then at the laptop screen. Her VPN session was still disconnected. The printer was unplugged. The document was stuck half-printed in the paper tray, evidence of nothing except a malfunctioning printer and my own paranoia. Except it wasn't paranoia. I had the photos, the videos, the phone records. Hundreds of data points that added up to one inescapable conclusion. I opened my email and pulled up the draft I'd been working on since this afternoon. The one addressed to infokellerfamilylaw.com. Subject line: Initial consultation request. The body was 3 paragraphs summarizing the situation in clinical, unemotional language. I'd attached a compressed folder containing everything. Every screenshot, every log file, every piece of evidence I'd collected. My cursor hovered over the send button. This was it. The moment where it became real. Where I stopped being the guy who suspected and became the guy who knew, who acted, who blew up 11 years of marriage because his wife ordered pizza she couldn't eat and spent too much time on encrypted chat rooms. I clicked send. The email disappeared from my drafts. A moment later, the sent confirmation appeared. Done. I closed the laptop, looked around the hotel room. Generic landscape painting, polyester comforter, digital alarm clock showing 12:03 a.m. This was where I'd chosen to be instead of home. Instead of confronting her directly. Instead of giving her a chance to explain. Except what explanation could there be? What possible reason for 47 photos and 6 videos and 3 months of phone calls and all those late-night sessions on Cypher Chat? My phone buzzed. Text from Jessica. I pulled the paper out. It's a VPN report, with my name on it, and timestamps from tonight. My stomach dropped. Why is the printer automatically printing my VPN sessions? I stared at the message, watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Are you monitoring me? The dots kept pulsing. She was typing something long, deleting it, typing again. Finally. We need to talk. Now. Where are you? I looked at the hotel address on the notepad by the phone. Hampton Inn, Route 20, 17 miles from home. 17 miles from having this conversation face to face. I started typing a response. Deleted it. Started again. Hampton Inn on Route 20, room 314. The dots appeared immediately. I'm coming there. Don't. I'll come home. No, I'm already getting my keys. I'll be there in 20 minutes. She was coming here, to a hotel room at midnight, to confront me about monitoring her VPN sessions. The irony was so thick I could taste it. I stood up, paced to the window. The highway stretched out below, cars moving through the darkness like they had somewhere important to be. Like they knew where they were going. 20 minutes. I had 20 minutes to decide what to say when she walked through that door. 20 minutes to prepare for the conversation that would end everything. My laptop chimed. New email. The law firm had an auto response. Thank you for contacting Keller Family Law. We've received your inquiry and will respond within 1 business day. 1 business day, Monday morning, 72 hours from now. But Jessica would be here in 18 minutes. I sat back down on the bed and waited. The knock came at 11:58 p.m. I'd been sitting on the edge of the bed for the past 12 minutes, watching the digital clock on the nightstand tick forward. The room smelled like industrial cleaner and old carpet. Hampton Inn, Route 20, room 314. I'd picked it specifically, far enough from our house that we wouldn't see anyone we knew, close enough that she could get here quickly, close enough that she couldn't think too long about what she might say. I opened the door. Jessica stood in the hallway, still wearing her yoga pants and the Northwestern sweatshirt she'd had on when I left. Her hair was pulled back in the messy bun she always wore around the house. No makeup. She looked tired. She also looked furious. What the hell, David? She pushed past me into the room. You're tracking my internet usage now? I closed the door, didn't lock it. I'm the account administrator. I get logs for everything on the family plan. That's not, she spun around. That's a violation of privacy. I almost laughed. Almost. Privacy. Yes, privacy. Just because we're married doesn't mean you get to monitor everything I do online. Her voice had that edge it got when she was building up to something. Offense as defense. I'd seen her use it with the kids when they caught her in a contradiction. I'd never thought I'd see her use it with me. You've been on Cypher Chat every night for the past 3 weeks, I said. 4 hours minimum, sometimes longer. I told you I'm taking online courses. The class has a study group that uses encrypted chat because we're discussing proprietary marketing strategies. She crossed her arms. This is exactly why I didn't tell you about the platform. I knew you'd overreact. Proprietary marketing strategies. Yes. At midnight. It's a global cohort, people in different time zones. I sat down on the edge of the bed. Looked at her. Really looked at her. She was good at this. Better than I'd given her credit for. 3 months ago, hell, 3 hours ago, I might have believed her. The explanation was just plausible enough, just detailed enough. But I'd seen the photos. What's the course called? I asked. She didn't miss a beat. Advanced Digital Marketing Strategies, through Coursera. I can show you the enrollment confirmation. Show me. For the first time, something flickered across her face. Uncertainty. I don't have my phone. You drove here without your phone? I left in a hurry. You said it was urgent. She gestured around the hotel room. You're staying in a hotel, David. You left the house and checked into a hotel and started monitoring my internet usage. Forgive me if I was a little concerned. Where's your laptop? At home. Why? Because if you're enrolled in a Coursera course, you could log in from my phone. Show me the syllabus, the study group chat. Any of it. Jessica's jaw tightened. I'm not logging into anything on your phone, not when you've clearly been spying on me. I haven't been spying. Then what do you call this? She pulled the crumpled paper from her sweatshirt pocket. The VPN log. 3/4 printed before the paper jam. This came out of our printer at 11:47 p.m. while I was online. You set up some kind of alert system. I set up a monitoring report for the family account. Bullshit. She threw the paper on the bed. You're tracking me specifically, my sessions, my data usage. That's not family account management, that's surveillance. I picked up the paper, looked at the timestamps. 11:43 p.m. to 11:47 p.m. Virginia server. Cipher chat domain. 847 MB transferred. What were you doing that required 847 megabytes of data in 4 minutes? I don't know, David. I don't monitor my data usage by the megabyte. Maybe someone was sharing presentation files. Maybe there were video clips. It's a marketing course. At midnight. Yes, at midnight. When the kids are asleep and I can actually focus. She sat down in the chair by the window. Is that what this is about? You're upset I'm spending time on coursework instead of watching Netflix with you? I'm not upset about coursework. Then what? I could have told her then. Could have said I'd seen the photos, the videos, the 47 pieces of evidence documenting her affair with Brandon Whitfield. The Riverside Inn, room 237, the beach house, the back seat of what I assumed was his BMW. But I didn't. Because I wanted to see how far she'd take the lie. The pizza orders, I said instead. Her expression didn't change. What? Tony's Pizzeria. You've been ordering from them every Tuesday for the past 2 months. You're lactose intolerant. I order salads. $30 charges for salads. Salads and breadsticks. Sometimes I get a dessert. I don't interrogate every charge on our credit card, David. Maybe you should stop doing that too. You hate Tony's. You said the one time we went there that it smelled like old grease and broken dreams. I said the carpet smelled like old grease, and I was joking. She leaned back in the chair. This is insane. You're tracking my internet usage and interrogating me about salad orders. What's next? Are you going to accuse me of having an affair? The word hung in the air between us. I watched her face, watched for any tell, any crack in the performance. Nothing. Are you? I asked. Am I what? Having an affair. Jessica stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the parking lot for a long moment. When she turned back, her eyes were wet. How dare you? Her voice was quiet, shaking. 11 years, David, 2 kids, a house, a life, and you're sitting in a hotel room at midnight asking me if I'm cheating on you because I ordered salads and took an online course. You didn't answer the question. I shouldn't have to. She wiped her eyes. The fact that you're asking means you already don't trust me. And if you don't trust me, then what are we even doing? It was good. Really good. The hurt wife, the wounded party, turning it around so I was the one who'd broken something. If I hadn't seen the photos, I would have believed her. I saw them, I said. She froze. Saw what? The photos, the videos, all 47 of them. I pulled out my phone, opened the cloud storage folder, held it up so she could see the thumbnails. You and Brandon Whitfield. 3 months of documentation. Maybe longer. The color drained from her face. The Riverside Inn, I continued. The beach house, his car, that coffee shop on Maple Street. I scrolled through the images. You're wearing the red dress in this one, the one you said you bought for our anniversary dinner. Except we never had that dinner because you said you had food poisoning. Jessica sat down. Didn't look at the phone, just stared at the carpet. The VPN monitoring wasn't about catching you, I said. I already caught you 3 days ago. I just wanted to see if you'd keep lying. Silence. And you did, I said. Marketing course, study group, global cohort. You built an entire story in 30 seconds. I'm almost impressed. She looked up. Her face was blank. All the emotion from a moment ago, gone. How long have you known? She asked. Does it matter? Yes. 3 days, since I found the video from last Tuesday. The one where you're at the Riverside Inn when you told me you had a dentist appointment. She nodded slowly. Processing. And you didn't say anything. I was gathering information. Information, she laughed. Short, bitter. You mean evidence? Same thing. Not really. She stood up, walked to the door, put her hand on the handle. Are you filing? Already contacted an attorney. Sent everything this afternoon. She nodded again. Didn't look surprised. Keller Family Law? How did you? They're the best in the county. Everyone knows that. She opened the door. I'll get my own attorney tomorrow. We can do this civilly or we can make it ugly. Your choice. Jessica, don't. She stepped into the hallway. You got what you wanted. You caught me. You have your evidence. Congratulations. She walked away. I sat there listening to her footsteps fade down the hallway. Heard the elevator ding. Heard it descend. My phone buzzed. Email from Keller Family Law. Subject line. Case consultation. Allen Family Matter. I opened it. Mr. Allen. Thank you for reaching out. We've reviewed the materials you sent. We can schedule an initial consultation for Monday, 9 a.m. Please bring any additional documentation you've gathered. Best regards. Patricia Keller. Monday, 9 a.m., 72 hours from now. I looked at the hotel room. The unmade bed. The VPN log still sitting on the comforter. My phone buzzed again. Text from Jessica. The kids can't know. Not yet. I typed back. Agreed. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. How long are you staying at the hotel? I looked around the room. Thought about going home, sleeping in our bed, pretending everything was normal for Emma and Tyler's sake. Through the weekend, I typed. Okay, that was it. No fight, no begging, no explanation. Just okay. I set my phone on the nightstand, lay back on the bed, stared at the ceiling. It was 12:23 a.m. In 9 hours, Emma would wake up asking where I was. In 72 hours, I'd be sitting across from a divorce attorney. And somewhere between now and then, I had to figure out how to tell my kids their family was ending. The hotel room smelled like industrial cleaner and someone else's bad decisions. I sat on the edge of the bed, laptop open, watching the automated reports continue to generate. Every 30 minutes, another log file, another timestamp, another encrypted session to cipher chat servers, routed through our shared VPN account. The one I'd set up 2 years ago so we could both access our streaming services when traveling. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone buzzed. Text from my brother Kyle. You good? Haven't heard from you in a while? I typed back. Fine. Talk soon. The cursor blinked at me from the laptop screen. I'd been staring at the VPN provider's terms of service for 20 minutes. Section 8.3. Unauthorized access and account sharing violations. Section 12.1. Subpoena compliance and data retention. I should explain something about the VPN service we used. SecureNet Pro. Premium tier, family plan, up to 5 devices. I'd added Jessica to the account in 2022 when she started working remotely 3 days a week. Legitimate business use, she'd said. Needed to access company files securely from coffee shops. Apparently, she'd found other uses for encrypted connections. The automated monitoring I'd set up was elegant in its simplicity. Every time Jessica's device connected to the VPN, a script logged the destination server, duration, and data transferred. Then it formatted that data into a nice, readable report and sent it to our home printer, which had jammed spectacularly at 11:47 p.m., paper accordion folded everywhere, her session logs printed in neat columns across 17 sheets. I pulled up the VPN account dashboard. Jessica's device was offline now. Had been since she'd left the Hampton Inn parking lot 43 minutes ago. But the logs were still there. 3 months of nightly sessions, every single one routing to the same IP address. 185.194.1 188.2227. CipherChat's European server cluster. I ran a reverse lookup. Amsterdam. Because of course it was Amsterdam. The encrypted chat service that advertised military-grade encryption and zero-knowledge architecture and complete privacy from prying eyes. They weren't lying about the encryption. I couldn't see what she'd typed, what photos she'd sent, what promises she'd made. But I could see when, how long, how much data transferred. Tuesday, November 12th. 2.3 hours. 847 MB transferred. Wednesday, November 13th. 1.8 hours. 623 MB transferred. Thursday, November 14th. 3.1 hours. 1.2 GB transferred. Video calls. Had to be. Text didn't use that much bandwidth. My hands still weren't shaking. That same eerie calm from the car, from the printer incident, from the parking lot conversation. Like I was watching myself make decisions from somewhere far away. I clicked on account settings, then security, then authorized devices. Jessica's phone was listed there. iPhone 14 Pro. Jessica's phone, last active 12:03 a.m. 1 click to revoke access. 1 button. I didn't click it yet. Instead, I opened a new browser tab and navigated to SecureNet Pro's support page. Found the section on legal requests and law enforcement cooperation. They kept logs for 6 months. They complied with valid subpoenas. They had a dedicated legal department for exactly these situations. I drafted an email to their abuse team. Subject: unauthorized account usage, potential terms of service violation. To whom it may concern. I am writing to report a potential violation of SecureNet Pro's terms of service involving my family plan account SNP 847392. I have reason to believe that one of the authorized users on my account has been using the VPN service to access encrypted communication platforms for the purpose of conducting an extramarital affair, potentially violating Section 8.3, Prohibited Uses, and Section 4.7, Account Holder Responsibility. I am currently in the process of filing for divorce and will be requesting that my attorney subpoena all connection logs, session data, and metadata associated with the device iPhone 14 Pro, Jessica's phone, for the period of August 1, 2024 through present. I am also formally revoking access for this device effective immediately and requesting that you preserve all associated data for legal proceedings. Please confirm receipt of this notice and provide information on your process for responding to civil subpoenas in domestic cases. I reread it 3 times. Clinical, precise, emotionally neutral. My finger hovered over the send button. This was different from the printer thing. The printer had been about catching her, forcing the confrontation. This was about something else. This was about making sure she couldn't hide anymore. Making sure there was a paper trail. Making sure that when we got to court, and we were definitely getting to court, there would be evidence. Digital evidence. The kind judges understood. Timestamps. Data transfers. Server logs. The kind that showed pattern and duration and intent. I clicked send. Then I went back to account settings and revoked Jessica's device access. The screen refreshed. iPhone 14 Pro, Jessica's phone, disappeared from the authorized devices list. Somewhere across town, if she tried to connect to the VPN right now, she'd get an error message. Access denied. Contact account administrator. I was the account administrator. My phone buzzed again. Not Kyle this time. Jessica. We need to talk about the kids. They'll be up in 6 hours. I looked at the clock. 12:47 a.m. Saturday morning. Emma and Tyler would wake up around 7, maybe earlier. Tyler always woke up early on weekends, padding downstairs in his dinosaur pajamas to watch cartoons. I typed back, "Come home at 6. We'll tell them together." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Tell them what exactly? I stared at that message. Tell them what? Like there were options. Like we were negotiating the narrative. That mommy and daddy are separating. That it's not their fault. That we both love them. The response came fast. I'm not doing this over text. Then don't. See you at 6. I set the phone down and pulled up the email I'd gotten from Robert Scott. No, wait. Not Scott. I'd specifically noted not to use that name. I pulled up the email from James Brennan, the divorce attorney whose office I'd be sitting in Monday morning at 9. He'd sent a preliminary questionnaire, 47 questions about assets, debts, property, income, custody preferences. Question 23. Do you have documentation of any marital misconduct, infidelity, financial malfeasance, etc.? If yes, please describe. I opened a new document and started typing. Documented evidence of ongoing extramarital affair includes 1. Phone records showing 347 calls and 1,283 text messages to Brandon Whitfield, affair partner, between August 15th and November 15th, 2024. 2. Bank statements showing 23 charges to Riverside Inn, room 237, totaling $1,840. 3. Cloud storage containing 47 photographs and 6 videos documenting physical relationship. 4. VPN connection logs showing 87 encrypted chat sessions to Cipher chat platform, total duration 183.4 hours, total data transferred 67.3 GB. 5. Email correspondence with VPN provider documenting unauthorized use of shared account and formal request for data preservation. All evidence has been preserved in multiple locations. VPN provider has been notified of pending subpoena for complete session logs and metadata. I saved the document, attached it to the questionnaire, sent it to Brennan's secure client portal. The laptop screen dimmed. I moved the mouse and it brightened again, showing me my reflection in the dark browser window. I looked tired. Older than I'd looked 3 days ago. My phone buzzed. Email notification from SecureNet Pro. Thank you for your report. Case SN 2847392 has been opened. Our legal team will review your request and respond within 2 to 3 business days. All data associated with the reported device has been flagged for preservation. Please have your attorney contact Legala Secure, netpro.com, with any formal subpoena requests. 2 to 3 business days. Monday or Tuesday. Right around when I'd be signing the divorce papers, Brennan was probably already drafting. I thought about Jessica, wherever she was right now. Maybe back at the house, sitting in the dark living room, Maybe at a friend's place. Maybe with him, though I doubted it. She'd been too rattled in the parking lot. Too caught. Her VPN access was gone. Her encrypted chats were logged. Her sessions were documented. And come Monday, her connection logs would be subpoenaed, time-stamped, entered into evidence. The court would see every session, every chat, every late-night conversation while I'd been sleeping down the hall. My phone said 1:14 a.m., less than 5 hours until I had to face my kids and explain why their world was ending. I closed the laptop and lay back on the hotel bed, staring at the ceiling. Somewhere out there, Brandon Whitfield was probably asleep. Probably didn't even know his name was in a divorce attorney's case file. Probably thought he was getting away with it. They all did, until the logs came out. I was staring at the ceiling of the Hampton Inn when my phone buzzed at 5:47 a.m. 13 minutes before I had to go home and tell my kids their world was ending. The notification was from SecureNet Pro's legal compliance team. They'd received my abuse report. They'd preserved all account data per my request. And they'd suspended Jessica's access pending investigation of potential terms of service violations, specifically using their service to facilitate what they termed unauthorized data routing for personal concealment purposes. I read it 3 times. The legal language was dense, but the outcome was clear. Jessica's VPN access was gone. Every encrypted chat session, every cipher chat connection, every digital breadcrumb she'd used to hide from me, all of it logged, preserved, and now inaccessible to her. My phone buzzed again. Jessica, we need to talk before we tell them. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to talk about. At 5:52 a.m., another text. David, please. 5 minutes. I stood up, showered, put on the same clothes from yesterday because I hadn't thought to pack anything when I'd left. The guy in the mirror looked like he'd aged a decade since Tuesday. At 5:58 a.m., I drove home. The house was lit up like Christmas, every window glowing. I could see Jessica moving around in the kitchen through the bay window, and for a second, just a second, it looked like any other Saturday morning. The kind where she'd make pancakes and Tyler would spill syrup on himself and Emma would already be doing homework she didn't have yet. I sat in the driveway for 30 seconds. Then I went inside. Jessica was at the kitchen table with her laptop open. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying, or trying to. When she saw me, she closed the laptop quickly. The VPN, she said. You reported me? I reported unauthorized usage to the service provider. They suspended my account. I know, she stood up. David, I need that for work, for actual work. You should have thought about that before you used it for Brandon. Her face did something complicated. Anger, then calculation, then something that might have been fear. They're asking for documentation, for their investigation. I provided it. You gave them the chat logs? I gave them connection records, session timestamps, data volume, everything they needed to verify the terms of service violation. Jessica sat back down. Her hands were shaking. You can't do this. I already did. No, she looked at her laptop. I have files on there, work files, client information. If they suspend my access, you can access your files. Just not through the VPN, just not through encrypted chat rooms on Amsterdam servers. She was quiet for a long time. Then, how much did you give them? Enough. Did you tell them about Brandon? I told them the VPN was being used to access encrypted communication platforms for purposes inconsistent with our family account agreement. They drew their own conclusions. Jessica's jaw tightened. You're trying to humiliate me. I'm documenting a pattern of deception that involved our shared digital assets. Jesus Christ, David, listen to yourself. Shared digital assets. We're married. We have kids upstairs. Had kids upstairs. They're awake. I could hear it now. Tyler's footsteps in the hallway above us, the creak of Emma's door. Saturday morning sounds that used to mean something different. Jessica closed her eyes. What did you tell the attorney? Everything. The VPN logs? Everything. The photos? Everything, Jessica. She opened her laptop again. Her fingers moved across the keyboard, then stopped. I can't access cipher chat. It's routing through. She looked up at me. You changed the network settings. I revoked your device authorization on our home network. You can still access the internet, just not through our shared infrastructure. This is insane. This is documentation. Tyler appeared in the doorway, holding his stuffed dinosaur. He was 6 years old and his hair was sticking up in 3 directions, and he had no idea his parents were about to blow up his life. Why are you both awake? He said. Jessica and I looked at each other. For the first time since last night, I saw something real in her face. Not calculation, not anger, just fear. Buddy, I said, can you go wake up Emma? We need to have a family meeting. Before breakfast? Yeah, before breakfast. He disappeared back upstairs. Jessica was staring at me. I can't do this, she said. You should have thought about that before room 237. David, before the 87 chat sessions, before the 67 gigabytes of data, before you looked me in the eye every night and lied. She flinched. I know what I did. Do you? Yes. Then you know what happens next. Emma came downstairs with Tyler trailing behind her. She was 9 and too smart for her own good, and she took one look at us and said, "What's wrong?" Jessica and I sat down at the table. The kid sat across from us. Tyler was swinging his legs. Emma was watching Jessica's face. Your mom and I need to tell you something, I said. Emma's expression didn't change. Tyler stopped swinging his legs. We're going to be living in different houses for a while, Jessica said. Her voice was steady. I'd give her that. Dad and I need some time apart. Why? Tyler said. Sometimes grown-ups need space to figure things out, Jessica said. Emma was looking at me. Are you getting divorced? The word hung there. Tyler's eyes went wide. Jessica's breath caught. We're separating, I said. We'll figure out the rest later. That means divorce, Emma said. Sophia's parents separated, and then they got divorced. Every family is different, Jessica said. Where's Dad going to live? Tyler asked. I'll find an apartment nearby, I said. You'll see me all the time, every week. What about our house? Emma said. You'll stay here with Mom, I said. Nothing changes for you guys. Everything changes, I thought. Everything. Tyler started crying. Not loud, just quiet tears running down his face while he hugged his dinosaur. Emma reached over and took his hand. Is it because of us? Emma said. No, Jessica and I said at the same time. This is about us, I said. About Mom and me. You two didn't do anything wrong. Then why can't you fix it? Emma said. Jessica looked at me. I looked at the table. Sometimes things break in ways you can't fix, I said. We sat there for a while. Tyler crying. Emma holding his hand. Jessica staring at her laptop like it might save her. Me watching my family fall apart in real time. At 6:47 a.m. my phone buzzed. James Brennan, my attorney. Received your documentation. Impressive detail. Can you come in Monday at 9 a.m. instead of 2 p.m.? We should move quickly on this. I texted back. Confirmed. Jessica saw me typing. Was that your lawyer? Yeah. What did he say? He moved our meeting up. She closed her laptop. I need to find an attorney. Probably. Can you recommend anyone? The question was so absurd I almost laughed. No, Jessica. I can't recommend a divorce attorney for you to use against me. Right. She stood up. I'm going to make breakfast. The kids followed her into the kitchen. I could hear her opening cabinets, getting out the pancake mix. Tyler asking if they could have chocolate chips. Emma asking if Dad was staying for breakfast. I looked at my phone. The SecureNet Pro email was still open. Account suspended, data preserved, investigation ongoing. On Monday, James Brennan would tell me how to weaponize it. How to turn Jessica's encrypted chat sessions into evidence of digital infidelity. How to argue that her use of our shared VPN to hide her affair constituted misuse of marital assets. How to subpoena the logs for the divorce proceedings. But right now, I was sitting in my kitchen while my wife made pancakes and my kids pretended everything was normal. My phone buzzed again. Another email. This one from SecureNet Pro's billing department. Your family account has been flagged for review due to terms of service violations. Per our policy, we're required to notify all account holders of potential legal proceedings involving account data. Your wife, Jessica Allen, has been copied on this notice. I looked toward the kitchen. Jessica's phone was on the counter. I watched it light up. Watched her pick it up. Watched her face go pale as she read. She looked at me through the doorway. I looked back. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just about the affair anymore. This was about every digital footprint she'd left. Every session. Every gigabyte. Every lie, logged and preserved and ready to be entered into evidence. She'd used our shared account to hide from me. Now I was using it to make sure she couldn't hide from anyone. The divorce took 8 months. Not because it was complicated. James Brennan had been right about the documentation making things straightforward. Jessica's attorney tried to argue that my VPN monitoring constituted an invasion of privacy, but the family court judge shut that down in about 90 seconds. Shared account, shared assets, shared responsibility. I had every legal right to monitor traffic on a service I paid for. The VPN logs became Exhibit C. 47 photos became Exhibits D through Z. The phone records filled another binder. Jessica didn't contest custody. Didn't fight the asset division. Signed everything her attorney put in front of her with the same blank expression she'd worn that night at the Hampton Inn. Brandon Whitfield disappeared from her life about 6 weeks in, right around when his wife, turns out he had one of those too, filed her own divorce papers. I got the kids every other week and alternating holidays. Jessica kept the house but had to refinance to buy out my half of the equity. I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment near the kids' school. Tyler decorated his room with glow-in-the-dark stars. Emma barely decorated hers at all. The final hearing was on a Tuesday in July. We sat on opposite sides of the courtroom while the judge reviewed the settlement agreement. Jessica wore a gray suit I'd never seen before. I wore the same one I'd worn to my father's funeral 3 years ago. The judge asked if we both understood the terms. We said yes. She asked if we'd both signed voluntarily. We said yes. She declared our marriage dissolved, effective immediately. 11 years, over in 11 minutes. We walked out of the courthouse into bright summer sunlight. Jessica's car was parked to the left. Mine was to the right. We stood there on the steps for a moment and I waited for something. Anger, relief, regret, anything. Nothing came. The kids want to do something together for Tyler's birthday, Jessica said. Both of us. They asked specifically. Okay. Next Saturday, 2 o'clock. Maybe that pizza place he likes? Not Tony's, I said. She almost smiled. Almost. No, not Tony's. Then she walked to her car and I walked to mine and that was it. No dramatic final words. No closure. Just 2 people who used to share a life, dividing up their son's birthday like they'd divided up everything else. I'm writing this 2 years later. Emma's 11 now. Tyler's 8. They've adjusted better than I expected, worse than I hoped. Emma's in therapy. Tyler still asks sometimes why we can't all live together again. I tell him the same thing every time. Sometimes things break in ways you can't fix. Jessica's dating someone new, a guy named Paul who works in insurance and has never been married. The kids say he's nice. I believe them. She seems happier than she was, lighter somehow, like she'd been carrying something heavy for years and finally put it down. I've been on a few dates, nothing serious. I'm not sure I'm ready for serious. Maybe I never will be. The VPN account got canceled 6 months after the divorce finalized. I didn't need it anymore, and the monthly reminders felt like keeping a wound open. SecureNet Pro sent a final data deletion notice. All those logs, all those sessions, all that evidence, gone. Erased from their servers like it never existed. But I still have the files. Backed up in 3 places. I tell myself it's just being thorough, keeping records in case Jessica ever tries to modify the custody agreement. But really, I think I keep them because they're proof. Proof that I wasn't crazy. Proof that my instincts were right. Proof that the person I trusted most in the world really did look me in the eye for 3 months and lie. I don't look at them anymore. Haven't opened that folder in over a year. But I know they're there. Last month, Tyler asked me why people get married if they're just going to get divorced. We were driving home from soccer practice, and the question came out of nowhere the way kids' questions do. I thought about it for a while. Thought about giving him the easy answer, that people change, that sometimes love isn't enough, that grown-up relationships are complicated. Instead, I told him the truth. Because when you get married, you believe it's going to work. You believe you know the other person. You believe that the future you're imagining is the one you're going to get. But you were wrong, he said. Yeah, buddy. I was wrong. About Mom? About a lot of things. He was quiet for a minute. Then, do you still love her? I looked at him in the rearview mirror. 8 years old, missing his 2 front teeth, wearing a soccer jersey with grass stains on the elbows. I love who I thought she was, I said. But that person doesn't exist anymore. Maybe she never did. That's sad. Yeah, it is. We drove the rest of the way in silence. Here's what I learned. You can document everything. You can have timestamps and server logs and 47 photos, and a lawyer who calls your evidence airtight. You can win in court, get favorable custody terms, walk away with your fair share of the assets, and you'll still lose something you can't get back, because the evidence doesn't tell you when it started to go wrong. The VPN logs don't show you the moment she decided I wasn't enough. The photos don't explain why she chose someone else. All that documentation, all that proof, it tells you what happened, but it never tells you why. I used to think that if I could just understand the why, I could make sense of it, could file it away in some mental folder marked lesson learned, and move on. But 2 years later, I still don't know why. And I'm starting to think I never will. Maybe that's the real lesson. Some questions don't have answers. Some betrayals don't have explanations. Sometimes the person you built a life with becomes a stranger, and all you can do is document the distance and try to protect what's left. The kids are what's left. Emma with her cautious heart and 2 old eyes. Tyler with his dinosaur pajamas and his impossible questions. They're the only part of my marriage to Jessica that I don't regret. The only evidence that matters. Everything else is just data. Logged, preserved, and ultimately meaningless. I still drive past the Riverside Inn sometimes. Can't help it. It's on the way to the kids' school. Room 237 faces the parking lot. I've never stopped. Never will. But I look every time, and every time I wonder what I would have found if I'd shown up that Tuesday instead of just watching the video later. Would I have confronted them? Taken photos of my own? Walked away? I'll never know. And maybe that's better. Because the version of me that sat in his car outside his own house, watching his marriage dissolve into timestamps and server logs, that guy was looking for proof, for evidence, for something concrete he could hold on to when everything else turned to smoke. He got it. got everything he was looking for and more. But proof doesn't heal you. Evidence doesn't make you whole. All those files, all that documentation, they won the case, but they didn't win back what mattered. So here's what I tell people now. When they find out I'm divorced and ask what happened, sometimes you can have all the evidence in the world and still not understand the story. Sometimes the data tells you everything except the one thing you actually need to know. And sometimes the only thing you can do is close the folder, delete the logs, and try to build something new from what's left. I'm still working on that last part, but I've got time, and I've got my kids, and I've learned, finally, painfully, that those are the only things worth documenting anyway. The rest is just noise on a server somewhere, waiting to be deleted.